laughter that was welling up, because David has no idea about the situation he is about to face. I immediately started thinking about a new place to live. Yes, that place would be perfect, I decided in my heart. An image of a high-rise apartment worth $1 million floated in my mind. I am Becky, 34 years old. I was about to take a new step toward the rest of my life. David is 2 years older than me, 36, and works at a high school. He works at a private girls' high school. David is relatively young among the male staff and seems to be popular with the students. Sometimes he receives letters from them, and on Valentine's Day, he gets several chocolates. Every time, David reacts as if it's bothersome. You don't make that troubled face in front of the students, do you? I ask, and he gives a wry smile. Of course not. I wonder why they give me chocolates even though they know I'm married. It wouldn't hurt to accept them, I say, reminiscing about my high school days when I had a crush on a teacher more than 10 years my senior. That's dangerous. It would be a big problem if inappropriate rumors started at a girls' school, David says seriously. In this regard, David is very sincere. Even when he receives favorable looks from young students, he doesn't engage in inappropriate relationships, so I can feel at ease. David's seriousness probably comes from his father. Both of his parents were educators, and I feel their influence is significant. Currently, we live with David's parents at his childhood home. We planned to move out once we had a child, but unfortunately, we don't have any children yet. Moreover, the income I earn from my part-time job and the amount David contributes to the household don't leave much room for savings. Living with my in-laws is comfortable, and they are very warm towards me. My recent concern is the worsening condition of my father-in-law's legs. His ability to walk is deteriorating day by day, and he can't enjoy his walks as much as before. So we bought a wheelchair and tried to get him out as much as possible. I changed my job from a daytime position to an early morning shift at a bakery. This allows me to go for walks or shopping with my in-laws during the day. My parents have passed away, so I cherish my in-laws as if they were my own parents. They left me an inheritance, but I still wish they were alive. David has an older sister, Kim, who has a husband working for a major company and a 17-year-old daughter, Nicole. It's been 10 years since we got married, and Kim, who works, often leaves Nicole at our place. Thanks to that, Nicole and I have developed a close relationship. Nicole calls me Sister Becky and trusts me like her own sister. I was an only child, so it was very precious to have a sister-like presence in Nicole. Now that we don't have to take care of her at our in-laws, we still keep in touch frequently. However, my relationship with Kim isn't very good. Ever since the first time I met Kim when visiting David's parents, I never had a good impression of her. She laughed and said, I thought he would choose someone cuter at our first meeting. Moreover, David didn't stand up for me at that time. If David's parents hadn't been upset by Kim's words, I might not have married David. David later said, I don't choose people based on their looks. I believe that personality is the most important thing in marriage. However, those words didn't resonate with me much. Instead, the immediate anger from David's parents made me feel they cared about me. I wanted to be dutiful to David's parents as I couldn't be to my own. Lately, Kim has been coming back to the family home more frequently. She doesn't talk to me directly, but from conversations with David and his parents, it seems there are frequent conflicts between her and her husband. Despite both working, she's often pointed out for neglecting household chores, expected at least to handle cleaning. If I only worked a few hours part-time like Becky, I could manage housework too. But I work full-time, she sarcastically remarked, glancing at me. Kim often compares herself to me. For a long time, I didn't understand why, but it seems she's competing with me. Maybe Kim was upset because David's parents sided with me when we first met. Eventually, David defended me, which seemed to increase Kim's anger. Well, we're getting by only because Mom is helping out. It would be impossible alone, David said, and Kim laughed proudly. Without children and with mom's help, it's natural you can manage household chores. No, you're not managing. Kim is more capable, isn't she? They laughed at me disdainfully. I caught my mother-in-law's eye watching them from a distance, and David quickly cleared his throat. However, Becky is doing her best. She's attentive, like taking care of my father with his bad legs. As I walked to the bedroom, leaving Kim surprised by his statement, I decided to contact Nicole. Nicole calmly responded, "Yes, Mom is wrong in this case." Despite having time, including when Nicole is at tutoring, the housework should be manageable. But it seems it's not being done. There's no sign of her being unfairly scolded. David typically sides with Kim. Kim is competitive with me, and David seems to harbor competitiveness towards his brother-in-law, who works at a top company. But as I see it, David is clearly lagging behind in this competition. His brother-in-law earns several times more than David. My point isn't about the amount earned, but how much one can spend on their family. I don't know how much David earns, nor does he know or show interest in my part-time income or savings. As long as we can get by on what he brings home, that's fine. I don't know what he does with the rest of his salary. However, there are nights he comes home late. He explains, "I was out drinking with work colleagues." Whether that's true or not, I can imagine David, who avoids even the slightest rumors among his students, having an affair. I never doubted him. David contributes $1,000 a month to our household. Normally, this amount would be challenging to sustain a household. This fact alone could be a seed for divorce or conflict. "This is my parents' home, so no need for rent," David says. "But $1,000 is a bit." I counter. "Then, how about asking my parents for living expenses?" He suggests. "That's not really the point." I say, but my true feelings don't seem to reach David. I don't expect David to support all three of us alone. However, I don't feel a sense of responsibility for his family in his actions. "You can say such things after you have children like your sister," he said, knowing it would hurt me. At that moment, I realized that although my husband cared for his sister, he did not show the same care for his wife. Meanwhile, my father-in-law's leg condition was gradually worsening. Our surroundings were all slopes, not suitable for wheelchair use. Why not consider moving? I suggested it to my in-laws when David was not around. But the budget, they responded. "We could use the funds from selling the house, and I can cover the additional mortgage payments," I offered, and my in-laws exchanged glances. "But Becky, that's a lot of money. You're already contributing more to the living expenses than David," my mother-in-law said with concern. "Don't worry," I reassured them. "I have an inheritance from my parents. If it can be used for my father-in-law and mother-in-law, my parents would be pleased," I explained. By then, my feelings for David might have almost disappeared. However, I felt affection for my in-laws and wished to continue living with them. We decided to move to a new home after discussing it with David's parents. Before moving, we made the house wheelchair accessible and installed handrails to ease my father-in-law's movement. I believe the new house, especially for my father-in-law, was much more comfortable than the previous one. In the old house, even moving to the toilet was a struggle, but now he could use it with ease. Initially hesitant, my in-laws felt relieved after I accepted a certain condition. That was to put the new house in my name and keep this fact from David. I had kept the existence of my inheritance from my parents a secret from David. If David knew about your assets, he would rely on you even more. "We can't allow that," my father-in-law said, showing his intention to protect me from relying on my parents' inheritance, which made me